Hi, and welcome to an exclusive interview of TMB News. Today we have a very special guest, 12 years old climate activist Licypriya Kangujam. Licypriya, thank you for joining us. I would like to get to my first question. We have heard from your social media that you're planning to visit Churnchanur. Is it true, and how far is it possible for you to visit Churnchanur?
Yes, it is absolutely true that I'll visit Churnchanur, but before visiting Churnchanur, I'll have to meet the Honorable Chief Minister of Manipur and Biren Singh first because I have to ensure my safety and security. That's my priority, and then after meeting him, after ensuring my safety and security, I'll go visit Churnchanur and then get to know the other side of the story. Not just one side, but both the sides of the story, and then interact with the children there, ask them how is it going on for them, what problems are they facing, I'll interact and talk with them, and then talk with their people in Churnchanur that how can we end this violence, this fight, and how can we bring peace in both the communities.
Okay, thank you for providing us that information, and we hope you have a safe journey. So you have been traveling across India and all around the world with a dedication to bring a sustainable life, and we truly appreciate your efforts. I would like to know how you intend to save the world and highlight some of the processes you have been involved in.
I use my voice to represent the millions of poor vulnerable kids, children, and the people who are innocent, who are vulnerable to the climate crisis in the front lines. I use social media as a powerful tool for my activism, to spread the voice, to spread the message, and to spread the things that I want our leaders, our governments, our people to do, our civil society to do, to act, to save our planet and our future. I use my voice in many media interviews. I use my voice when I do speeches, when I get invited to different UN programs, important events, and then spread the problems that we're suffering, that my country, not only my country, but those thousands of millions of poor, vulnerable children and people are suffering today. Not only for my community, but for every country in this world. So that's how I do it. And the thing is, I use my voice, I use social media, as I've told you before, as a powerful tool for myself. I also sign petitions. I write letters to our local governments, to our leaders, for example, including climate education as a mandatory subject in our school education curriculum. And if they don't listen to us, then step, the last thing that I'll do is protest, is because protest is the last option I have in my activism if they don't listen to our voice. So I do protest with many placards, with not only, with myself, but with many other climate activist friends and other people together as a whole, as one, to spread the message, to tell them what to do and to do it now.
Okay, thank you. Licypriya, you are now a global phenomenon. You're recognized by many notable figures. So, how did you come into this position, and can you share some insights on your journey?
You see, I've been born in this beautiful place called Manipur, a northeastern state of India, bordering Myanmar. And my birthplace in Malibak, Manipur, is full of rich biodiversity, as you know. It's full of lush green mountains, alluring atmosphere. But now, I think everything is going to be dead. I mean, it's already gone because the lush green mountains, the rich biodiversity hotspots have become climate hotspots now. Even people here are doing massive deforestation, to plant illegal poppy drug plants, and it is interrelated with climate change because the massive deforestation deforestation is causing climate change, causing climate crisis that we, the innocent people, are not responsible for, but are facing in the front lines. We face the massive droughts, we face, the landslides, we face, water scarcity. Even the rich people who have the money to buy water can't buy water now. So these are all the impacts of climate change. But when I was around 4 years old, I grew up in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, and that's when I had thoughts came up in my mind, in my heart, that what is climate change? Why is this happening? Well, you see, before the thoughts came up, my family faced severe, cyclone Ditli in 2018 and then cyclone Fani in 2019. So during those cyclones, in front of my very own two eyes, I saw children suffering, losing their parents, both mom and dad, displaced children living in relief camps. Their homes were destroyed, many lives were lost, innocent lives were lost, who were not responsible for the cyclone that they have caused, even though they were suffering in the front lines. And I was one of them. So it was really emotional to see them, cry, to see them suffer, especially the children in that time. And then later I moved to New Delhi in 2019. And then again, I faced the intense heat wave crisis in Delhi in summers, and then the harsh air pollution, high air pollution crisis in winters. So, these are all impacts of climate change. And because I faced all those climate disasters in reality, what's happening in reality today, I faced those climate disasters that many people are talking about today. So I had thoughts came up in my mind, as I've told you before, and I started asking those questions that I have came up in my mind to my mentors, to my teachers, to my parents, like, what is climate change, and they like, why is this happening? Then they told me these are all related. These are all caused by climate crisis, through human activities, through the lack of political wills by our leaders. Then I started asking them that, what can I do? What can I do to help solve this climate crisis, stop this climate change issue, to stop those people from being vulnerable, from those children, innocent children, from being in the front lines of facing today's climate crisis. And then they told me, you can do all these steps, like you can raise awareness, you can pass on the knowledge that my mentors, that I have given you to other people, to other children who have the lack of knowledge, about the climate change, about climate crisis and the climate disasters and global warming too. You can plant a tree, you can do cleanliness drives. So I started doing all of that, and I started using social media as a powerful tool for that, as my mentors told me, as I've told you before. Yeah. And then many people started to recognize me. I started protesting first time in 2019 in front of the Parliament House of India, inspired by my friend Sister Greta Thunberg. Yeah. So I started protesting there, and then journalists started to interview me, and then people started to support me, and then I got invited to the United Nations Climate Conference in COP25 in Madrid, Spain in 2019. So, the world started recognizing me. It was, a life-changing event for me in that summit, because people started to recognize me, people started to know me. When I started my journey, when I started my activism, I was alone. But today I have thousands of love and support, and that started very beginning from 2019, from the COP25 in Madrid, Spain. And then after knowing me, after they got to know me, after being in the social media, seeing my videos and the photos that I've uploaded, I started getting invited to lots of other events, programs, and people started calling me a climate activist. Even though that time I didn't know that what I was doing was climate activism, they told me that what you're doing is climate activism. And then I started calling myself as a climate activist, as people do. So that's how I started.
Thank you for giving us the insights. From what I've heard, I feel like activism and personal life can sometimes be demanding to manage. So how do you manage those?
It has been pretty hard, as you can understand, both my activism and, managing my education, because both are, of course, important for my future, for my life. But right now, as I've begun my activism, my journey, I've always, managed it, balanced. Both my education and my activism, because they are equally important. So I balance them, by doing these things like, doing the protest, planting a tree, doing the cleanliness drives in my free time, in my evening time, you can say, after school, after tuition, everything, in the end of the day. And then taking the events, the programs out of India, or in different parts of India or in different parts of the world, in my holidays, in my summer vacation, winter vacation, or holidays. But if it's a really important event like the United Nations or any government event, then or summit or conference or meetings, then I'll have to take it, and then I write letters. I told my school, I tell my school, and then yes, they manage it properly. Even right now, I've came to Manipur, to my birthplace Manipur, the Basikong, like just after my winter vacation started, my winter holiday started. So that's how I manage it. That's how I take it.
Okay, thank you. So as we come to the ending of this interview, what message would you like to give to the people of your state?
Well, you see, I know we are suffering very hard. We're suffering the most. Even though we're not responsible, even though we have not started this fight, even though we have not started this violence. But still, yes, I'm trying the best I can. You're trying the best you can to stop this violence, to get justice for those people, for those children who are suffering from this violence. Well, I just want to say that even though I'm pushing forward my communal violence to many parts of the world, to many people, to many governments, to many prime minister, presidents, to many UN people, in my speeches, in my interviews to journalists, still, I can't do it on my own. I just want to say that I need you as my backbone. I need you people, the people of Manipur, my people, to do it together as one. With me, with you, with everyone, with Chiche and Dada. Everyone as one. And that is when we will bring peace. That is when we will get justice. That is when we will bring change. That is when we will win. So let us fight together as a whole, as a one, to bring peace. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Licypriya. This is Krakum Sunaina with video journalist Salmananda Wahengbam for TMB News.